read to me the nameplate?
Judge Eboni K. Williams.
So the only thing that matters in this particular courtroom is how I see it. I am from North Carolina by way of Louisiana with some West Coast cool and a New York edge. Do we have a problem, ma'am?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Equal justice is all about the most important values of our country: freedom, integrity, and those are the things that I'm striving for. Ma'am, you run your household, this man gets to run his. I decided to become an attorney and pursue the law. I wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. This court cannot hold this woman accountable. People from all sectors of life, black, white, purple, gay, straight, queer, and that's what equal justice with Judge Eboni K. Williams is all about.
Dennis Perry claims his friend hired him to cater a pricey seafood brunch, then didn't pay him. Coral Hunt says a guest had a severe allergic reaction because of Mr. Perry's carelessness. Ms. Hunt is countersuing for $507.
I've got Dennis Perry here as my plaintiff. You are suing the defendant, Coral Hunt, for $800. Ms. Hunt has her countersuit claim of $507. I do see you have a witness with you, Evelyn Clark. Mr. Perry, I'll start with you. Why are you in court today, sir?
I live in Atlanta, Your Honor, and I love to cook, have since I was a kid. Love cooking for myself, for my friends, and I've been friends here with the defendant for about 3 years now.
Okay.
And she wanted me to cook cater for her for a girls' party she was having, a brunch, and so I did that for her.
Okay, and how many people were going to be at the brunch?
15.
Okay, and how much was she going to pay you?
It was $1,600 total, $800 for deposit up front for the shellfish and fish and all of that, and then $800 for labor completing it.
Okay, so $800 up front and $800 at the time of the event. So how did it go?
It went well, except for the unfortunate incident, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'll take that's why we're here today. Ms. Hunt, do you want to elaborate on the details of what went wrong with this girls' brunch you wanted to throw?
Yes, Your Honor. So I asked Dennis to prepare 2 separate dishes because my friend Evelyn has a severe allergy towards shellfish.
Okay.
And I communicated that very clearly, and I asked him to keep both the dishes separate because otherwise there could be contamination.
What kind of dish did you want him to make?
It was a seafood brunch party.
Okay, so the whole brunch was a seafood thing?
Correct.
So all the dishes were seafood.
Correct.
Except for what she was going to eat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Hers actually, Your Honor, was also seafood, but it was fish prepared separate from the others, so there wasn't contamination.
So she just can't eat shellfish.
Shellfish.
She can eat fish, but not shellfish.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so what did you prepare for her, sir?
A roasted branzino.
Oh, branzino. Okay, nice. So you were able to accommodate it. So what went wrong?
It seems like perhaps there was cross-contamination on my part, or perhaps later on at the party. Somehow, Evelyn got shellfish poisoning.
Okay, Evelyn, go ahead and approach, and you can stand right here next to Ms. Hunt. Tell me exactly what happened and what sickness happened and how you got sick.
I looked at all the food. There was like a buffet style of all the shellfish stuff that was inside. And then I saw it all, but I didn't touch anything. Went to the restroom, and then when I came out of the restroom, everybody was getting ready to be sat. And in my seat, which was separated from everybody else, there was a specific plate that did not have, and it didn't have any
And
shellfish.
I'm curious, Mr. Perry, what were the other dishes that were for the buffet?
So we had blue crab, steamed blue crab. We had lobster with a nice garlic butter sauce. There was what was it? Sweet neck oysters, lightly fried with a cocktail sauce. There was beluga caviar with imported French water crackers for dipping.
This sounds delicious. Anybody else hungry? Do you have some photographs so I could see all of this deliciousness?
I don't.
Okay, you do.
I actually,
Okay,
Your
Elijah,
Honor.
can you go ahead and retrieve this so we can see what
just have the
the
whole
whole
entire
folder
folder?
is great. The whole folder, ma'am?
Folded, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. This Louisiana girl right here is getting hungry. Okay. So let's look here at our plasma so that the courtroom can see what I'm seeing. So this was the branzino.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the branzino and the vegetables made special for the witness here, Ms. Clark.
Correct, yes,
Okay, so
Your
you
Honor.
understood there was an allergy for the shellfish, so you prepared this separately.
Right.
And you were Are you a professional chef, or this
No.
is something you do as a side?
This is something I do on the side, mostly for myself, for my
Okay.
friends, and occasionally I will cater for a friend.
When asked, on
Yes,
occasion.
exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
But you do know enough to know to use separate utensils and pots and all of this.
Yes,
Okay, so you prepared this independent from the other cuisine.
I did, though unfortunately that went into a pan that had the shellfish in it at another time, the crab specifically.
Oh, okay.
But that had been then taken and cleaned. It was just when the crab was being warmed, and so it was steamed crab sitting in it to keep them
So there
warm.
was a tiny bit of contamination.
Potentially, and I didn't realize that would be enough to cross-contaminate.
Okay.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
So did you pay her medical bills because it was your brunch?
I did, Your Honor. I thought it was the right thing to do. I didn't want her to come to my party, get sick, almost die, and then have expenses. So I covered everything.
And later,
When we got into the recording sessions, I became uncomfortable with the content that we ended up producing.
Oh, now we got to know more.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with the case of Dennis Perry, who brought Coral Hunt to court for not paying his catering fee.
So tell me, Ms. Clark, what were your symptoms?
So first it started where I get this itch in the middle of my throat, where it's almost like you swallow and you just swallow again.
Yeah.
And then that kept happening.
So at that point, did you know there was a problem?
I hoped there wasn't, but then my nose started running, and then as soon as it started to get to the point where like I felt a little hot, but then my stomach started to go. Once it's in my stomach, it's like
Bad.
no.
So you took her to the hospital.
Yes. So first she administered an EpiPen because
Yes.
it was starting to get really severe.
Right.
And then
we
I
didn't want
instantly
her,
called an ambulance,
okay.
and I went to the hospital with her.
Sure.
And then the doctor told us, after examining what was going on, that she must have had shellfish in her food. So then I was absolutely, shocked, and I instantly called Dennis and asked how he actually prepared these two dishes, because how could that be? And then he admits that he put the branzino in the same tray that the crab was in. So
you did do that. Is there a reason that happened, sir, or was it just you just oversight, forgot?
So I had prepared all of the seafood, the shellfish of the first order.
Sure, all of
all
this
of that, and then
deliciousness.
cleared the kitchen. That was all staged and ready to go. The crab were in a chafing dish to stay warm while I did the branzino. The branzino is quick. About the cooking takes maybe 12-15 minutes.
Sure.
So I did that, prepared that. The only thing I had large enough to put the branzino in was the chafing dish. So I took that, cleaned it.
So you
and
did
put
clean
that in.
it?
Yes.
But apparently not sufficient enough to avoid a complete contamination.
Potentially. Again, I don't know if contamination also happened at the party where someone else touched her dish, touched her silverware, or crab juice while they're cracking crabs, flies.
It really could have been anything, is what I hear you saying. Let's look at this medical bill I am looking at for your expenses, Ms. Clark. Ambulance transportation, prescription medicine, you were billed $507, and this is the amount of the. So did you pay her medical bills because it was your brunch?
I did, Your Honor. I thought it was the right thing to do. I didn't want her to come to my party, get sick, almost die, and then have expenses. So I covered everything.
So you paid for it,
I did.
and you're now asking for him to pay for it.
Correct.
Okay. Now, as it relates to this $800, you did pay the $800 deposit. You got that.
Yep.
But when you went to collect your balance, she said.
She said, "No way I'm paying you because my friend almost died."
Is that right, ma'am?
Correct.
Okay. And you stand by that today, that position?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay.
Because I explained the allergy in detail to my friend, and he agreed, and I made sure that he's comfortable with that challenge, because I know how tricky that could be, preparing two separate dishes in one kitchen.
Yeah.
And when the food got delivered, I put it under a food bell on her spot, and it was outside, and the buffet was inside. It never came anywhere close to each other, like the two dishes.
Was she sitting at a table with people consuming shellfish?
She was on the head of the table, and we left.
You can say what you're saying, but her face said it all, which was más o menos, pretty much, right?
We were at the same table, but the shape of it's so awkward that the head of the table is a little bit separate from everybody else. So I'm not right next to them where I'm in splash
But they
zone.
were in proximity.
Yeah.
Because that's the point of a dinner party, right? Like if you were gonna sit at the kiddies table down the street, you didn't even need to come, correct? Mm-hmm. You were in enough proximity to hold conversation and socialize with the other guests.
Yes.
I'm gonna thank you, Ms. Clark. You can have a seat. I am ready to rule here, ma'am. Here's the deal. I believe at some point there is a reasonable duty from you, Mr. Perry, to make every reasonable effort to ensure to accommodate the request of your paying client, which is to prepare a dish that is separate from the shellfish. And I actually think that you did that. I believe that you made an effort. I believe it was a reasonable effort. I believe you tried to wash the dish and this and this and this. I think that there's something in the law, Ms. Hunt, called an assumption of risk, okay? And I actually believe that both you two participated in the assumption of risk. You, my dear, you know how severe your allergy is to shellfish. And to me, when my friend says, I want to invite you to a shellfish party, and I know I am deathly allergic to shellfish, there is not a separate plate in the world that's going to be sufficient to protect my state of mind and state of physical being. I understand you say that she was very convincing. Come, I don't want you to miss out. I'm going to make sure that my chef does everything possible. I think that there is not a foolproof methodology that was going to sufficiently protect you from being exposed to some level of shellfish contamination. The court rules that he tried to exercise a reasonable duty of care. The court rules that you and your friend participated in a huge assumption of risk here that really likely could have got this young woman killed. I am ruling in favor of the plaintiff, $800 to the plaintiff. Ma'am, your countersuit is dismissed in full. That's my ruling.
Judge Eboni has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $800.
I did my best. I'm sorry that this has impacted our friendship, but I really, I wanted to make something special for you, and I really tried to.
I'm disappointed because I trusted one of my best friends, and I don't think I can trust you again.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
He talked about people using their sexuality to climb the corporate ladder.
This is Equal Justice. Charles Fredricks claims his coworker agreed to split the cost of a podcast venture, then backed out. Danielle Remson says she became uncomfortable with the content of the podcast, so she walked away.
I see I've got Charles Fredricks here as my plaintiff and Danielle Remson as the defendant. Mr. Fredricks, I see you are suing the defendant for $612.50. What brings you into my courtroom today?
Well, Your Honor, we originally had an agreement to do a podcast together, and as far as I knew, everything was going as we agreed to. We only ended up doing 3 episodes, which they didn't go well, but we had an agreement at the beginning that we were going to split the costs, and I threw down for the studio and recording, and just asking for compensation.
Okay. And how do you know this young lady?
We work together.
Okay. And what was the idea of the concept of the podcast? What was the show going to be about?
Well, we work for a marketing company, and we'd been around for a while, and figured it would be entertaining. We've had some good discussions when we've been having coffee together, so we figured we would talk about our industry and give advice to people, but also, we had humorous insights, and we thought it would be as interesting as other podcasts we've heard.
Do you have any paperwork for me, sir? Any agreement that you guys made? Give your whole folder, please, to my bailiff here.
Sure.
Thank you.
And then I also have texts, and really our texts are the agreements on...
Okay, go ahead and give your phone then to my bailiff. Now let's see how this business arrangement was set up, shall we? Okay, so ma'am, was it your understanding that this was going to be a 50% fee split?
Yes, initially. But when we got into the recording sessions, I became uncomfortable with the content that we ended up producing.
Oh, now we got to know more.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
Was it broad, or was there some stereotyping going on?
That part was both, but it did become misogynistic on the workwear part.
This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with a dispute between Charles Fredricks and his co-worker Danielle Remson over podcast fees.
Give him this phone back, Elijah.
Absolutely.
What do you mean uncomfortable, man? What type of content were you observing?
Well, climbing up the corporate ladder was not exactly what I was expecting to be talking about. He talked about people using their sexuality to climb the corporate ladder.
So he was talking about sleeping your way up the corporate ladder.
Yes.
Okay, and did he gender specify that? Was it just the women doing that, or was it women and men? Was it same sex? Was it broad, or was there some stereotyping going on? That
part was both, but it did become misogynistic on the workwear part, where he began to talk about women showing their bodies and how they deserve what they get if they're, or they deserve, you know, like the leering stares of men if they show too much, which I was also shocked and surprised at. You know.
How well did you know this man, ma'am? How long did you work with this gentleman before this podcast adventure?
For 3 years.
So you knew this man for 3 years?
Yeah.
And you didn't know he held misogynistic views about women in the workplace?
I guess we kept our conversations more shallow. We're both interested in music and podcasts and movies, and it didn't come up. Okay.
All right. What do you have to say for yourself, sir?
You know, somebody comes into the workplace and they're dressed inappropriately, and they're
what's inappropriately?
You know, the low-cut blouse, super high skirt, that sort of thing. And my point was, and this is an opinion, it's a podcast, so people want to hear your opinions, and that's all it is. But if something's inappropriate, it's inappropriate. Somebody from HR, you know, they're just asking to get a citation from your HR representative.
Judge Eboni's verdict when Equal Justice returns. This is Equal Justice.
Well, the court feels that you did not do what we call due diligence, ma'am, okay? When you're venturing into the space of podcasting, which is content creation, but ma'am, you're a smart professional woman, I can tell, okay? And therefore, you've got to know that with every choice comes a potential risk and consequence. So when you speak publicly and then you put that content out there for all of the world to consume, it can go a lot of different ways. Trust me, I know all about this, okay? And so therefore, if you had some concerns, ma'am, about it costing you your job, relationships at work, relationships in your home life, those are all what we call preliminary questions, ma'am, that you've got to ask on the front end. Therefore, the court must rule in his favor, ma'am. The court rules in favor of the plaintiff for the full amount, $612.50. That's my ruling.
Judge Eboni has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $612.50.
I mean, I'm happy with it. That's all I want is just the fair agreement.
I think the judge made a fair ruling. I don't like it, but it makes sense, and I've learned a lesson.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.